So how y'all doing? Back out here again today. Gonna do a little bit more on this old tractor. Last video, we got the valves put back in and got the head put on. I kind of roughly adjusted the valves back out. Well, I went on ahead, looked up in the book. The torque specs for the head bolts are 45 to 50 foot-pounds, and then the cold clearances for the valves is 18 on the exhaust and 10 on the intake. But it also said in the book hot adjustments is 8 on the exhaust and 10 on the intake. So it's 10 on the intake regardless of temperature. So I don't know if that's right or not. So just to be sure, I went on ahead and adjusted all of them to 18. It'll tick a little bit, but I would rather it tick than do damage. So that's my thinking behind that. So if it ticks, all I got to do is take the cover back off, readjust them to 10, and keep on going. So on this video, I'm probably gonna pull the distributor out, clean it up, go through it. Basically just try to get it ready to fire up, and hopefully fire it up if everything goes well. So that's what I got to do. Get it all ready to fire up. But I've got an ignition coil coming. The ignition coil goes right there if you were wondering. I got an ignition coil coming. I've got a brand new rotary button, cap, points, condenser. I'm probably going to run an external resistor also, or condenser, not resistor, condenser. I'm probably going to run an external condenser off the side of the coil just for extra. And I've got my starter solenoid mounted. I added this. It would originally had it on the starter, but this is a different type of starter. It works, but it's a different style. The original style starter, it would have been like on the starter, and it would have been a cross junction between these two, made out of metal, and your battery post would have went straight to the battery. But there's nowhere to mount one of these, and I don't really want to drill holes into a freaking starter because there's wiring in there. You don't want to mess with that. So under there is the perfect place. I run my positive, or my starter to, I'll run the starter wire to there, and then run the battery on the other side around, and then I'll have to come up with a ground clamp, maybe to here or to there, one of these. I don't know yet. There might even be a cast. I could even put it on one of these. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I don't know where it was originally. I think it might have been over here originally. But, it ain't really a big deal where you put it, just as long as it has a ground. And then, what else do I have to do? Oh yeah, I've got to fool with the oil filter, because they took it off, and I bought this pump off of eBay about, I don't know, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, or no, 8 years ago. And I bought it mostly for this canister, because that's all I could find, and for the bolt and everything. And I thought, well, I could probably use this filter. No. It's completely junk. If you could see the sludge right there, it's completely full of sludge. So that filter is pretty much toast. So I tried to find a filter. I can't find anyone that has a filter. I don't know where exactly to get a filter. But I was looking on eBay, and they make adapters to put a spin-on filter. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm just going to go with a spin-on filter and be done with it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull the distributor out, start cleaning on it, because I popped the cap off. And yeah, nice, nice crispy crunchies in there. It ain't too bad though. Yeah, I think it can be cleaned up fairly easily. I still see shiny metal there. The points move a little bit. The condenser's loose. That ain't good. Yeah, it's a little crispy. Is there even a bolt left? Where the heck's the bolt? Who needs bolts? Just put it in there. It's fine. It ain't going nowhere. But yeah, I gotta pull that out. Pull it out, look at it, clean it up, see if there's anything I can even do for it. And if there's not anything I can do for it, well, I'll just have to get one. So yeah. It looks as if either there's not a bolt in there or they broke it off. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, taking this distributor out. I'll be back. Alright, so been doing a little bit more on it. I took the distributor apart. It's over there on the bench. It's not terrible. It's rebuildable. So I'm gonna clean the parts up and clean it up real good, get it lubricated, and when I get my new points and everything, I'll put it together and put it back in. But I went and got some battery cables today. Got my battery stuck on here, and check this out. We got us a good working starter. So now I get that distributor. I gotta get some parts for the carburetor, or I gotta make a ball gasket and get that stuff on here and get fire. We'll see if this whole thing will fire up and run. Hopefully it will. And then I'll have to work on the radiator, get water in it, because I don't know if I've showed you guys this or not, but that's not supposed to be in your radiator. I'm pretty sure. You can see a acorn right there, and leaves, and looks like pet animal fur. I almost said pet fur. Yeah, who's pet? Heck, am I looking at a mouse right now? No, I'm looking at a piece of a mouse. Never mind. It looks like a freaking mouse sitting there petrified, but it's not. There's a pecan shell. Yeah, I've got to try to get all that out of there. I'm thinking about, there's nothing in the bottom of the radiator, in that bottom tank that I know of. There might be, but I did get the seals ordered. If you guys can see those bolts, that's the tank and that's the radiator. So these tanks, they come off. So I've got those seals ordered to hopefully put that back, but I'm worried about these bolts snapping off, because they're notorious for snapping off, just like these. See right there. So I'm just gonna have to be patient with it, because you can't use heat. You'll melt your radiator. So it's either break them off, or melt the radiator, or let them soak for 3 days. The bottom's gonna be the worst. I gotta get this shroud off and these side pieces, and I gotta get the fan off out of the way for all that. But for now, I might can just crank it and let it run a little with no water in it, just enough to see what it's gonna do. And then maybe when I figure something out for this radiator situation, I can handle it. But I don't know yet. I'm gonna start soaking these bolts. You can see them through the grill right there. I'm gonna start soaking those bolts all the way around, get them all soaking, and I might could even pull the whole this whole piece off. I don't know. I might look into that, because if I can get this whole unit off, I can take it, hook it up to the hose pipe, and blow that crap out with water pressure, instead of having to take it apart. I am eventually going to take this thing apart, but it would be nice not to have to do it yet. So I don't know. I might try to take that whole thing off. I don't know. Looks like we got a bolt under there. And then of course we got that one there. And there's two, looks like, right there and on the other side. And then there's probably the same bolt there on the other side too. So if that's all there is, I might just do that, because I probably need to get in there and lubricate, the steering shaft and all that, grease it up, oil it up, clean it out. So I might just do that. I might just go that route. So I'm gonna see, but I'm gonna show you guys the distributor real fast. So here's the top piece. It's not terrible. I'm gonna try to clean this piece up, chuck it in the sandblast cabinet. There's where the condenser went. I thought I had a broke off screw, but no, they just didn't put the screw in it, and it's evident because you can see that has never been pinched. They just set the thing in there, probably lost the screw years ago. Typical farmer stuff. But there's the distributor inside. It's a little rough in there. I've been soaking it with penetrating oil. I put new springs. I did get the thing, if I can show you guys. Did get the advance working, so it should work. Should be just fine. I just gotta clean all these pieces up, go through and tap the screws and clean those up. I gotta get this thing cleaned up, put back together. I did get a new cap. I lost my rotary button on it and where it went, but I did get a new cap. I'm keeping this piece. Nothing really wrong with it. Just old. So I'm gonna do a little bit more on it, and I'll be back. Well, I got updates. As you can see, I just done that. It was easier, and I was able to put my new fan on, so that worked out good. Radiator did get hit a little bit by the fan once in its life. You can kind of see the damage, and the old fan, it was chewed up pretty bad. But yeah, I can hopefully clean that out in there good now. I can clean that out pretty good. And I can also take it home and maybe try to weld those and get those out, hopefully. I also gotta fix some damage down there. I don't know, you guys probably can't see that, but there's two studs. Well, there's supposed to be two bolts, so I don't know what that's all about. But she's off. Now I can get these grills off. That'll just be a radiator and two tanks. I'm probably gonna take it and lay it down like this. Oh gosh, there's the gasket I gotta make. I didn't know I had a gasket, but it does. I guess a rain gasket. I don't know. I could probably use silicone it back, but I don't know. I'll see. I didn't even know I had a gasket. I thought it was just metal on metal, because there's no oil. You know, it's just grease. It could have been oil, I guess, but I don't know. I'm probably going to put a little bit of something in there just to help that old grease kind of come back, because it's still grease though. I mean, so maybe it'll be alright. Another thing I gotta do is fix this. They cranked this thing so much with the crank, they wore a slope on it, so now when you go to turn it, it just pushes this out. So I gotta get in there and fix this. This nut does come off. I might try to take the nut off. I don't know. I don't know yet. Put new hardware for the fan. I just don't trust old stuff like this, old bolts. I mean, like you can see what they had holding the radiator on with. It had run loose. You see those threads, they're damaged. Oops. But anyway, I'm going to be putting all new stuff back. So I probably am going to remove the bottom off of here and put that back. Because like I said before, I ordered new radiator seals, so I can do that. That's probably what I'll do. Take it apart, not now of course, but in the future, take it apart. Now all I'm going to do is chuck a hose in here and try to flush water through the flues. Might turn the radiator upside down. I don't know yet. But yep. Right now I'm going to go home, get some sleep. If it ain't raining, I'll be back out here tomorrow. See you then. Alright, so the next day, and earlier this morning I took this radiator home and started blowing the acorns and stuff out of it. And in the process of doing that, I realized that this radiator is junk. Absolute junk. It's rotted out all down in the bottom and leaking tremendously. There's like 3 or 4 holes in the front and the back flues, so she's junk. I can get a new one. They're not cheap. They're about $430 on eBay. So before I buy one, I'm going to make sure this thing's going to run. So to do that, I've got a radiator that I think will work. I'm going to take the fan back off, hook the hoses. I'm going to take this bottom piece, put it back on, get it sealed and everything, and then try to stick that radiator on there with hoses and some hose clamps, just so I can get cool water in it, so it won't, you know, run hot, and to see what that motor does, because I'm still not 100% sure everything's going to work out. So just for insurance that everything's going to be fine, I'm just going to do that route before I buy a radiator, because that's a lot of money for something like this. So I'm going to start taking this thing apart. I'll be back. Alright, so it's been a little while later, but there's the grill shell, one of them. There's the radiator core, and over there's the rest of the parts under that, next to that gas tank under the workbench. So I've got that, and then I put the base back down just so I'd have a place to put this radiator. This is just temporary. I took the fan off so it wouldn't, you know, rub. It's a rig, but hopefully I can put water in it and let it run for more than, you know, 2 minutes. So that's the plan. I was working on this plate right here, and you might see this. That's just a piece of water pipe I've got screwed in there for now, but I'll show you what happened to the other piece. So here it is. Yeah, I broke it. What I was trying to do was get this out because it's threaded. I was trying to get it out of there because this needs fixing, or needed fixing. It don't need it now, but it needed fixing because this is stripped out in here pretty bad. The old farmer that was running it, they took a piece of wood and whittled it down and drove it in there, and I guess, you know, water and wood and moisture and raw metal, it just ate the threads out of it. So it would have needed this fixed, but luckily, if anyone ever runs into this issue, this is 1.5 inch pipe, I think. Yeah, 1.5 inch pipe and threads. Here's a piece of 1.5 inch right here. Now the piece I've got stuck in it, I screwed it out of this muffler. But I'm going to take this and that piece over there and remake this piece. Now what I'm going to have to do is take the piece I've got, cut it off right at the threads on that, probably at an angle, and then take a piece of this, and I'm going to have to cut a slice out of this straight, and then bring it back together and weld it so it'll be small on the end for the radiator hose. But it shouldn't be a big deal. Looks like I might have to take out maybe, I don't know, not a whole lot, but that's the plan. And my carburetor is pretty much, I wouldn't say toast, but it's going to need a lot of work. And I don't know if I'm going to put this work into it. For starters, screw snapped off. And then the rest of it pretty much says it all. Now, my dad seems to think when he put that carburetor on here, he had it apart and had it clean. But I don't know if he did. I don't know if he didn't. We had this thing covered in a shed. If you want to see where it was sitting at, just look at the first video on the tractor. You'll see it in the thumbnail. That's where it was sitting at. It was under a shed. Granted, it was in the rain, partially. We've since built that shed in more, but when we put it in there, you know, it was out of the direct rain. But where's the top? Here's the top. Yeah, you can see. Funny thing is, the float still works, and the needle and seat still works. So I could fix this carburetor. The only thing though, that broke off screw, and I need a gasket. But other than that, it could probably be repaired. But I'm thinking about going with a Zenith. Put a Zenith carburetor on it. But, you know, I'll just have to see if I can get a decent one that'll fit this adapter. You know, I could have took this carburetor and probably soaked it in vinegar or something for a while, and it would have got all that out of it. But there's all these little jets and passages. I don't know how far this moisture creeped in, and I knew something was up because when I took the breather pipe off, that was full of rust powder. So I don't know if moisture got in through maybe that air cleaner, because we had the air cleaners hooked up. So I don't know if moisture crept down the air cleaner and then up into it, if that's possible. And the intake also had moisture in it. It had rust and moisture. So something sometime drew moisture. If you look in here, you can see it. See the rust in that tube. But, of course, it's not really that bad, but I'm about to start having to clean this place up a little bit. I'm slowly piling it down with tools and little pieces and parts. So I'm going to have to redo everything. But yeah. I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, and I'll be back out here maybe tomorrow. Get a little bit more done. So I got the distributor in the midst of the rebuild. Let's get it in primer for now. Here's the piece it goes on. I got it off. I had to take it loose because this hole here didn't have a stud, and I wanted to tap that out. And I thought that someone had broke this bolt off there in this hole. I thought they broke it off in the motor over there, but it turns out it's just a stud. So they didn't actually break anything. It's just the way it's made, which is, I found that to be weird, but what are you gonna do? So I got it took loose. Had to drop the generator down, and I don't know if I'm gonna hook it back or just cut that off. I don't know. We'll have to see. There's a hole. It's not made exactly how I thought. I figured it would be like an open into the engine, but it's just like it's on its own little compartment. That's what it has. And also last night I dropped the oil pump. Put new bolts back in that, but let's see if I can see it. Well, anyway, I can't find it, but I found, I don't know what it was, some kind of cocoon built up inside of it. Like almost looked like a butterfly cocoon. But it had built up inside of, you probably can't see it, but there's a hole right there. And it built up inside that hole. So it would have instantly pumped that through the oil system, and probably it would have done some damage, just put it to you that way. Dislodged that as soon as it fired up with oil. So I'm gonna have to get the generator off, because I gotta straighten this piece right here, because that's what the coil bolts do. Yeah, I'm kind of in a slow spot right now because I'm waiting on parts. Waiting on points, condenser, cap, rotor, coil, plugs, wires, oil filter, all that good stuff. But I want to finish rebuilding that distributor, and I'll be back. So I was doing a little bit of looking. I took the fan shaft and everything off. The reason I done that is because it had didn't have a bolt in that hole right there, and it kind of worried me. So there's nothing in the hole, it's fine. So I decided to clean out in there, and look at all the crap I got out of there. All of that pile come out of there. Like it was full up level with the crank thing right there. So it was just slam packed in there. But now I can get the belt on and off without having to spin the engine over. So that's good. Good news is though, the water pump spins pretty free. I greased it, but you know, that don't never mean nothing. And let's see, what else did I do? Got the belt off. I forgot about this. This is actually a Moline belt. So that's pretty cool. Of course, it's dry rotted, but it ain't one of them thick belts either. It's one of the more reasonable sized. I'm gonna run her till she breaks. Why not? Of course, I'll have to put a new generator belt on it, but I was gonna have to do that anyway because when I put the alternator, it's gonna be more up in this area, so it won't be down low where this is, unless, of course, I can use this pulley on an alternator. I don't know. I might try that, but I don't think it'll work. But it might. So I got my thing put back on. I didn't put a gasket under it because I got a gasket set coming. So whenever I hear it run, hear it fire up, make sure everything's gonna be okay. If it's not leaking oil or smoking, or well, if it's not smoking and burning oil really, really bad or anything like that, then I'm gonna go back and just put the head gasket on, take the intake off, seal it up, maybe put the water pump gasket on and put this on, and whatever else that I have that probably will need sealing. Probably won't mess with the jugs too much or anything. I won't pull the jugs up unless it needs rings, because if I'm gonna do that, I might as well put rings in it while I'm there. And I might do it anyway. I might go ahead and put rings in it. I'm not sure yet though. I just need to see how good it's gonna run first before I'm willing to dive that deep. So I'll be back when I got something else interesting. Alright, so I've been working on this thing a little more. I got the distributor rebuilt, put in. I got brand new plug wires, plugs, points, condenser, rotary button, cap. Got a new coil. This is a 12 volt internally resisted, so it's good on 12 volt. I did test it. We do have sparks, so we're good there. So now I just gotta wait for tomorrow to come, and I gotta get my oil filter adapter, get oil filter on, get some oil in it, and hopefully I can hear this thing fire up tomorrow. Or maybe not tomorrow, but in this video. So we'll see. Alright, I'll see you then. Alright, so I figured I'd share this with you guys before I put it in. I got my new adapter. They sent me a Wix filter with it too. So this right here basically screws in where this does. That piece right there, the actual thing to hold the canister on, screws on. And then you put this in first, then you put your filter on. Now I'm pretty sure this is a small block Chevrolet filter, 350, 327, 283, 305. They're all pretty much the same. That's how that works. It seals on that outside surface, and I'll show you guys what it seals against. Alright, so I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a little lip right there. It seals against that lip. Alright, I got the ignition wire hooked. Got oil in it. I'm gonna give it a little breath of brake clean and see what she does. Oh, good. First time she's run in 40 years, probably. Alright, I'm gonna have to probably clean the plugs out. I'll be back. There it is. She's a runner. I didn't get to film it. I had to use both my hands. Got oil pressure too. 40 pounds cold. Fired right up. Can't run it long. I can't run it though for very long. I ain't got no water in the radiator yet. But we got us a runner. So this will be the end of this video for y'all. I'm sorry I didn't get to film it cranking up, but I had to work the choke and the throttle because I don't have no governor hooked up to this carburetor because it's backwards. It needs to be like right here, and the choke won't stay shut. But she's definitely a runner. So next video we're probably going to do maybe the front rims and put tires on them, and I'm going to try to source some back rims. I'm pretty sure a set of C Farmall rims will work. I'm just going to have to make some adapters. Make some things to go on here to extend these out and weld it to the rim. But a C, 2 C rims will work, I'm pretty sure. So, hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.